Hello everyone and welcome to another video from Carl's Tech Shed. Well, as you can see, what I've got here is a little envelope, and in here hopefully is the 1TB USB flash drive that I bought on eBay. Now, I only paid £25 for it, so I'm almost certain it's going to be counterfeit, but I thought we'd have a look at it anyway and see what the counterfeiters are up to these days. Now, the first sign of trouble is that the seller has sent this to me in half a jiffy bag, so that might not seem very significant, but what that tells me is that they're trying to reduce their costs as much as possible. As you can see, I've not only blanked out my own address, but I've blanked out the seller's address, because this video is not about starting a witch hunt on the person who sold this to me. This is more to look at the technology involved and the type of technology that counterfeiters are using in the Far East to fool people into thinking they're getting an absolute bargain on USB flash drives, when actually it's probably just going to be a 4 or an 8 GB chip inside here. You can see they've also made a reasonable attempt at some half-decent packaging on here. As you can see, we've got multiple languages on the back of the packet. I can only read the English, obviously, but it doesn't seem too badly translated, but I can't say that for the other languages because I can't read them. You'll also notice that throughout this package, it's without a doubt, it's made to look like a Hewlett-Packard product. Now, I've done some research online and I cannot find a Hewlett-Packard 1TB flash drive anywhere, let alone one which is in a package like this. You can also see that nowhere on the retail packaging does it mention the capacity of the drive. All it states is that it's a HP USB flash drive. Now, obviously it isn't manufactured by HP, but you can also see that there's no information on the capacity here, only the compatibility with various operating systems. Now, obviously I do believe that this USB flash drive is a fake, so originally I wanted to show you a program similar to H2TestW, which will write data to the drive and then read it back, which will determine whether it is counterfeit or whether it has a genuine capacity of 1TB. However, I can't even get the drive to become recognised on my laptop, so if I try plugging it in again, as you can see, it's not even appearing here, and it's not on the desktop either. So I'll try it once more. It's definitely not being recognised by my laptop, so I think the only thing to do now is to open it up and see what's inside it. As you can see, inside the flash drive, we've just got this small memory module. Now, this is known as a UDP flash drive, and I found some information about these online. As you can see, these UDP flash drives are very cheap to manufacture. They're usually used in promotional items like this one here. Now, I'm not surprised that my one doesn't work at all, especially when you look at how they're stored in the factory. As you can see, it looks pretty solid, but when you actually look closely, it's just a small PCB with a memory chip encased in some plastic, and as you can see, there's a small controller chip here, which is a simple silicon die which has been wire bonded directly onto the PCB, and then a small piece of epoxy has been placed over it. So I'm going to try and break this open and we'll have a look inside it. I must admit, I had some difficulty trying to get this open because I assumed that this was the same as the one which I found on Alibaba.com, whereby you had the individual components soldered onto the PCB and then you had the small controller chip wire bonded directly to the PCB with a small blob of resin. However, on this one they seem to have skipped a step, and they've just wire bonded not only the controller chip but also the memory chip directly onto the PCB and then placed the ceramic resin over the top of it. Also, the memory chips they're using are probably obtained very cheaply from the factory because they're riddled with errors or they simply don't meet quality standards. If you do buy a USB flash drive from eBay, even if it looks genuine, I'd recommend testing it using H2TestW or SDspeed if you're using a Mac before copying any data onto it. This way you are less likely to lose data to a counterfeit flash drive.